Yes, good morning. It's been 2 weeks since we've done one of these, but hey, the Easter holidays are over now, and I've got my time back. So we've got one of these back. Got a big panel for you today. Got a big show for you also. Let's hit the intro and we'll get straight into it. Yes, that's it. Today, it's all about the question I'm going to ask. Has Granit Xhaka won over the fans, the majority of the fans? And to answer that question with me today, we have Gumza. Been a while, sir.
I'm missing you, boys. I'm missing these lovely faces. How's everyone doing? Everyone all right, yeah?
All good.
All good. All good. James, how are we, sir?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Not bad at all. And as you can see below me over here, we've got the legend that is mostly Arsenal's Keith. Welcome back, sir. It's great to have you back. How are you?
Thank you, Tony. Thanks for inviting me back on. It's been a while, hasn't it? But yeah, all good. Hope you all are as well. A few technical issues earlier, so I had to run straight back up to my hotel room to plug into their Wi-Fi. But no, looking forward to it. Should be.
Hey, look, it happens to the best of us. If it's not one of us, it's someone else. So that's that for you. Anyway, let's get straight into this. So I'm just gonna go straight to Gumza. I know he's on daddy daycare duty today, so we'll go to him first. As because you've been somewhat of a critic of Xhaka, you have your feelings towards him. Has he won you over, even just a little bit?
So nothing changes for me in terms of he has got quality. I've never disputed that. I still would recommend him as one of our worst signings ever, as much as he's having a good season this year. The reasons for it, I can look at this month and what I've been saying all along. What he was brought in to do, he hasn't done. We had to change our philosophy massively to kind of get him into the squad and get us playing away. Now, when he came in, no one could dispute it. He was brought in to be our defensive midfielder to allow Ramsey, Wiltshire, Cazorla, Ozil to go and flourish. And what we had to do from that is bring in more defensive midfielders. We brought in Torreira, El Nene, Guendouzi. And only with Partey, we actually saw a somewhat decent Xhaka. So we had to now, we lost a lot of creativity to bring Xhaka in and find him a partner. And in the last month, yes, he's been good. But actually, what I've seen from Xhaka is now he's got a solid partner in El Nene. He now looks good again. And my problem with Xhaka is when I've put him with Lokonga, we haven't played. We've struggled. So actually, for his role, for what I want from him, it seems like we need to always put someone with real strength next to him to get the best out of him. Has he had a good season this year? Yeah, 100% he has. Last year, I think he was our best centre midfielder. This year, again, I think he's had a good season. Kind of answered the question, how do we improve the team? For me, that's a place where I will be looking for improvement. Now, this is not saying I want Xhaka to leave, but I feel he's not good enough to take Arsenal to the next level. However, I'm more than happy to have him in the squad. So I'm happy with him, but it won't ever change my views on there is better central midfielders out there than Granit Xhaka. But if he keeps delivering what he's doing at the moment, I'm behind him. Do you know what I mean? I'm calling him by his real name. He's not getting called number 34 no more. He has matured. However, I think the sentiment of Arsenal fans is when someone's doing well, yes, it's good to get behind. We all love him. But then we're like, he could stay our centre midfielder for the next 3 years. And it's actually, no, we still got to push on and go forward. Like, there's no time for sentiment because when players have had enough, they'll leave you in the mud and jump ship to your rivals if they have to. Do you know what I mean? So for me, I've always got that in my brain of, yeah, he's doing well. If it's a choice of him and Onene staying this year, don't really mind which one stays. But we need a better central midfielder in there, especially when we play teams who play a low block. We need more creativity in that more advanced centre midfielder role. So, yes, he's changed my opinion slightly, but I'm not going to sit there and say he deserves to start now for the next 3 years. Like, nah, I'm not buying into that. But long may it continue what he's doing at the moment.
Okay, look, fair enough. I'm going to go to James because he's been somewhat of an advocate, just a little bit, on Xhaka this season. So, well, not just this season, but since he's been at the club. So, go on, James. Let's have your say on him.
Yeah, man. It depends on what you mean by change people's opinions on him. Like, I always like Granit Xhaka, and I like as Gum just said that he was brought as a DM, right? But for me, when he was used as a DM, that's not his position. Like, he's sound defensively. That's one of his strong points, right? He's good passing. He's good. We are now seeing he's good going forward relatively. But he's solid as a central midfielder. And when he was brought in from Borussia Mönchengladbach, he wasn't playing as a defensive midfielder all the time. He was playing as a DM. He was playing as a left central midfielder. He was playing as a right central midfielder, right? So he was playing all across their midfield. And I feel like not that he's been mismanaged, but he hasn't been optimized or got the best out of by Wenger, by Emery. And now we're seeing Arteta finding a solution to really get the best out of Granit Xhaka. Now, for me, Granit Xhaka has always been a midfielder that was going to give you a 7 out of 10 when he doesn't get carded, right? 7 out of 10, 9 times out of 10, like, is in game time, right? I can get the frustration about it for him getting sent off and yada, yada, yada. But he hasn't got as many red cards as people make it out to be, and he hasn't got suspended as much time as people make it out to be, right? Everyone makes it out to be, Granit Xhaka's gotten, 10 red cards? Like in total in his Arsenal career, I think he's got 4. Yes, it's a lot, but he's been here, 6+ years now? So it's not as much as people make it out to be. And for me, what he brings on the pitch is greater than what the deficits are of his game. So I don't know. I just feel like he has brought a lot of this stuff on himself, especially what he did in that one game where he came off slow, threw the armband down, etc., right? But the Arsenal fans bigged him up about, like, quite a lot. Like, I can't justify his reaction, right? But for him to be walking off and for the whole stadium to be booing him, it reminded me of, like, players you see, like Aboué got booed a lot, whistled, right? It's happened before. And I'm feeling like we're seeing a similar reaction to what Aboué had. Like, Arsenal fans are done with him, hated him, and he came back stronger, performed, and now a lot of Arsenal fans really rate him for his time at the club. So I'm hoping Granit Xhaka has had this effect. Like, you guys have been critics and you want to upgrade. I'm still with Gumza in this. He has a part to play in this squad. He is a solid central midfielder, especially now that we're seeing it where he's not being tasked with making all of those rash challenges. He's higher up the pitch. So I don't know. I've always been happy with Granit Xhaka. Like, I'm glad people are starting to see that when he's being utilized right, he's probably, this season, over a longevity period, he's been Arsenal's best midfielder. I know Thomas Partey has been our best midfielder as of late, but Granit Xhaka as a whole period, I think, maybe Martin Odegaard, but again, I'm more seeing him as like a 10, like as a those four. So I don't know. That's where I'm at. It. Well, I'm happy with him.
See, mommy.
But people might not be happy with it either. So,
could I just jump in there quickly in terms of what you said? So again, I hear what you're saying about him being a better centre midfielder than having a better season. But I feel a lot of that goes to he's been given a role which is an easier role to play as such. So he doesn't take any responsibility now of getting the ball off the back line. So, and this is my criticism of, we brought Sambi Lokonga in to replace Partey, who's injured. Now, as the experienced member, I should be the deepest central midfielder. I should be getting all the balls under pressure and let Lokonga then have the more of a freer role as a central midfielder. But what's happened is Lokonga takes all the responsibility, and Xhaka, you just keep doing your role, which you've done well, But that's the element of, I think, where we need better. So El Nene's now stepped in and said, well, I'll take the responsibility.
Yeah.
And now Xhaka's flourishing again. So this is where I say my issue is with it is, yes, you've done your role really well, but now times where we need you to come in. And again, that 3-game period shows me it, where you've got Lokonga and Xhaka midfield, we get beat by Palace. We move Xhaka to left back, which was a wrong decision for me. We get beat again. We put him back in centre midfield with Lokonga, and we get beat again. And it's actually, I'm not saying it's all on him, but actually, if you was the Rock, we don't lose that Southampton game. But now we bring El Nene, and now we beat City and Chelsea and Liverpool and United. So it shows me, yes, he's good, but it's that little bit extra what you want from him. I'm not saying he's not a leader. You can see he's vocal, he's up for the fight, but it's just that responsibility on the pitch. Like,
yeah, but is this Granit Xhaka's issue though, right? I know we'll come to Keith in a second, but for me, right, if I'm the manager and I tell a player to play a specific role and then they go against what I've told them, I'd be pissed off, right?
Yes,
so if Granit Xhaka has been told to play this way, right, as a central midfielder, as an 8 higher up left central midfielder, right? For me, I always thought when we were discussing about playing him as a left back, right? I didn't want him to play as a left back when we were out of possession. I felt like when we were in possession, if he wants to drift in there, he drifts in there anyway, or he did prior to this new position that he's playing. That's fine, and I agree with you. He should never have played left back. But for me, that's the onus of the Crystal Palace game. They outplayed us. I'm not going to put my hands up. They were a much better team. But Brighton and Southampton were slim margins where I felt like we could have won that game if A, Arteta made the right decisions, and B, we were clinical enough because we did create chances. So for me, the onus of Granit Xhaka being an experienced midfielder, that is valid. But for me, it's more on Arteta not playing him playing him in the same position and not putting El Neni there when El Neni was available for all of those fixtures.
Yeah, 100%. But and again, and this is for me, it's that element. We've all played football. I might get tasked with that role today, but all of a sudden, I used to play centre back quite a lot, and I would be more the sweeper. There might be a game where my other centre back's getting bullied and I'm more physical. So actually, yes, my role is normally the sweeper role, but in this game, actually, I'm going to man mark. So if you could see a game slipping or he needs help, again, it's just adapting, isn't it? Rather than say, I'm going to play safe, I know I can play a 7 out of 10 doing my role, but the rest of the whole game is just falling apart. Actually, let me take care of this and free up Lokonga. Again, do you think Arteta, yes, he might be a bit of a control freak, but as a young player, if someone comes into me and says, listen, I'm doing that, you go and play over there quickly. It's just them moments. And I'm not trying to blame it all on Xhaka, but it's just, I think, a noticeable thing for me is when he has Partey, he's played very well. When we had Lokonga, I'm not saying he played badly, but it's like you saw the drop off in what happened in them games. Now we've got El Nene, all of a sudden the levels have risen again. So it's almost like we're always carrying Xhaka, if that makes sense. He needs someone to carry him.
I don't know. I mean, you could say the same thing with Odegaard, right? Again, I don't want to talk too much because we're trying to get people.
No.
But like, I mean, when Lokonga was there, Odegaard performed okay, but again, his level dropped, right? I just feel like that's the Lokonga difference. That's the disparity between a Thomas Partey's experience and El Nene's experience, right? Then Lokonga, that's the deficit, not the Granit Xhaka thing. But I understand your point. Like you want to take
I think with the Odegaard thing, it's a game. I go back with the Ozil thing. Ozil played better with Wiltshire or Cazorla behind him. It wasn't about defensively. It was about they would get him the ball quicker in the areas where he could hurt you. They were better at penetrating passes, whereas Ramsey was more of a runner. So you saw Ozil's levels drop when Ramsey played because Ramsey's going to run in the same positions Ozil wants to operate in. Another one was Tom Huddleston. Gareth Bale probably loved playing with Tom Huddleston because he's going to find you off one touch. Now, when they had, I can't remember who of midfielders were, they might take 2 or 3 touches to get it to Gareth Bale, which has now killed the space. So I do agree with you. Odegaard's levels dropped when Sambi played, but I think that's because the penetrating passes wasn't there. We was playing a lot more sideways. And it'd be interesting to look at the stats, how many touches maybe the right back and left back had when we had Sambi playing compared to when El Nene played or Partey. So I do think there was a drop in level. And it's not, again, calling out Sambi Lokonga. He's a young man. And this is where I think, as the experienced central midfielder, I should be saying, nah, I'll do that. You going for that. And you just do damn let me dictate the tempo. And it is about the dictating of the tempo, isn't it? It's dictating the game. El Nene's come in and he's dictating everything.
Those games where Lokonga was in. I think with those games that Lukonga was in with Xhaka, I think it was more of a, it was a mutual misunderstanding at times. They've not played together, and obviously you see when Elneny come in and against Chelsea, you saw Xhaka the way they carried the ball from our box into the midfield, which set up, which was the lead up for Emil Smith-Rowe's goal against Chelsea. So I don't know. I don't think you can really blame Xhaka for much. I just think it's a miss.
No. I'm not.
You know,
I'm not. And again, it's not a blaming game.
So,
It's just about taking responsibility of certain roles. And it says
yeah.
senior
There
member
is that.
needs to be the deepest one and deal with the pressure. Like, why are we giving this young kid the responsibility? And again, if I'm a team setting up and I'm saying Lukonga's playing DM, press the life out of him. Press him non-stop. He doesn't get a second. And that's the difference where with Elneny now, he's taking responsibility. Hold on, Booksy. Sorry, childcare duties. Give me a second.
Right. Anyway, we'll go to Keith because Keith's been waiting very patient, and I want you to tell our viewers how you've always felt about Xhaka. Has he changed your mind, and how have you found his performances as of late?
I've gone up and down on him. I mean, obviously the low point was it wasn't so much the flipping the bird at the fans and the slow walk off. It was the throwing down of the armband. I've been at Kuna since 1979, so I've seen a lot of captains and. The armband's a special thing. So I keep getting these notifications from work. Is that coming through on the sound or not?
No.
Excellent stuff. Now, I mean, the rumours are when Wenger got him, it was a choice between him and N'Golo Kante. I know who I would have gone for in hindsight. But you look at the managers he's played for, like Wenger bought him. Emery gave him the armband, albeit it was pretty stupid letting the players vote on it. I've never, ever agreed with that. I thought that showed real weak leadership from Emery. And then you got Arteta. Now, all three of these managers have rated him. Obviously, they see stuff in training that we don't see. We just see on the match and the videos that the Arsenal website wants to show us. But that's three of them. That's Arsene Wenger, a bloke that's just got Villarreal into the Champions League semi-final after winning the Europa League, and a guy who's got an Arsenal side that's had major, or is still in the middle of major surgery, up to fourth place at the moment. So they must see something in the bloke. Now, I'm a little bit, Albert quite often says about sympathy FC, and I fall under that bracket. So all the players and the managers, I just love them and I want them to succeed. And you look at what Xhaka's been through and the stuff that was said online about him. Now, when he threw the armband down, I wasn't really into Twitter that much then. I was more on like Facebook round with people about whose bins hadn't been collected and stuff like that. So I'm only sort of at the last 18 months been into it. So I wasn't really aware of all the stuff that's being said about his family, his wife and his kids and stuff. And yeah, if that was me, I probably would have reacted way worse than he did. But he's made a lot of stupid mistakes, which doesn't help himself. You just look at the one against Liverpool this season in the Carabao Cup on Jota when he was clean through. So, mate, what are you thinking? Seriously. So that doesn't help. Yeah. And James is absolutely right. He was brought in to be a 7 out of 10 as long as he don't do anything stupid. And we're now in a position where, and Gumsler made a really good point. Now, people look at Xhaka as a leader, as a captain. He kind of is a leader. He's more of one of the senior players, but he should be the one who's taking responsibility when he's got Sambi in there with him. And he started to flourish when Thomas Partey started hitting his pace. And now with Elneny coming in, it's almost like we've stumbled into Elneny coming back into the side. And it's worked. And you can see it's worked. You see the reaction of the players and the fans when Xhaka scored against Man U. I mean, it's a hell of a strike. And you got all the pundits moaning about Eddie being offside. I think it's just De Gea weren't set. He weren't expecting an Arsenal player to shoot for 30 yards. It's not what we do, is it?
But Lindelof was in it as well, so...
Yeah, and what a strike as well. It's beautiful. But the big thing for me is fortitude. I said a bit about this on one of my videos a couple of nights ago. And the guy's been here a long time. He's had an awful lot of stick from many, many quarters. And I went through a phase where I refused to call him by his name. It was like number 34, like quite a few people have. But I like to see it. I like to see the fortitude, the way he's dragged himself back. I know we're only 2 games into this, almost renaissance of his. But he has played incredibly well with Mo next to him. And it could be one of those, as long as these guys keep themselves fit and free from suspension, this double pivot in the middle, it might just get us over the line, because I've had a feeling after the 3 games that were awful, where teams sat back against us and we couldn't break them down, when we got teams coming at us, our counter-attack has been our best point this season for me. There's the way we've moved it through defence midfield to attack. It's worked really, really well. And now we've got this solidity in front of the back 4. And we've got games coming up where teams are going to come at us. And I think it's going to work for us. And it works from that point of view with these two just being solid and breaking things up and moving it forward and letting Odegaard and the other 3 just do what they do. But I've waffled on about other stuff there. But I'm happy to see it from a personal level, a bloke who's gone through an awful lot to now being in a situation, like I said, when he scored and you got Lacazette coming up to him, all the players, and you've got Cedric doing the hug. Did you see the picture of him hugging all the players? That's like, that's
that was nice.
Yeah, and it shows the spirit.
Melts your heart, doesn't it?
Yeah, and you can say that Arteta's a bit of a dictator, perhaps. I like to look at him as somebody like George Graham. He's got rules. He's in charge. You've got to stick to them. Otherwise, you get sent to Barcelona on a free. It's just nice to see. I love seeing the spirit of these lads. They all seem to be in it together. And like I said, I'm Sympathy FC, so I'm happy to see it. He's just a bloke who's doing his job, and he's changed a few minds recently.
Yeah, no, for sure. And you brought up, him playing with El Neni, and obviously they've been playing together, at the same club since the 16-17 season. So they've obviously got the understanding there, and they know what each other's going to do. I think did they play together in Basel as well? I'm not too sure, but it's definitely been a difference maker, especially in the last 2 games with them two in it. James, is there anything else you want to talk about when it comes to Granit Xhaka? Actually, tell you what we'll do. We'll go into some of these comments first, and then we can respond to some of them. So, there's a few. There is a few. Amondi's tuned in as ever. Thank you, Amondi from the United Agenda. Make sure you check the guys out over there. You're far too kind, Amondi. Thank you very much. Badax, I saw his name pop up on Twitter earlier. So it's good to see you here. Good to see you here. Georgia, good to see you. We'll have to get you on again at some point. Amondi, good points, Gumza. That makes a lot of sense. That's obviously from your first points. G Talks is in the house. Good to see you, sir. I hope you're well. I hope you're enjoying life now the kids are back at school. Canners, there is a stream today. Well done. Thanks for tuning in. Private joke. Matty Sparrow, question. If you're saying Xhaka should be a middle midfielder, not DM, but as a higher CM, would you replace him over the likes of Odegaard, Smith Rowe, Xhaka? I think that's probably a question to you, James.
Well, I don't know. I wouldn't replace him for Odegaard, and I wouldn't replace him for Xhaka, right? Because they don't play in the positions he plays in. Even though I feel like Odegaard could do a job on the left, he predominantly plays on the right, and I like the link up he has with Xhaka. On the Smith Rowe situation, I see him long-wise being more as an 8. I really like him in that mold. I feel like he's just gonna, I don't know, he's not Frank Lampard, right? But he has a lot of characteristics that I like to see that Frank Lampard has. Arriving late in the box, great ball striking, decent connecting with each other. And I just feel like if he can grow into his frame, that's where I feel like he's not matured as a player yet. If he can get a bit bigger, because he is 6 foot. Like not a lot of people know that he is 6 foot, so he is a relatively decent size for a midfielder. I would consider Smith Rowe long term, but not right now. But as Gums has said, there is midfielders out there in the market. I think we should be looking to improve upon, because I do feel like he's a very valid squad rotation player. It's just about stepping up that quality now and trying to close the gap between City and Liverpool. So.
The thing about Smith Rowe as well, he's a very good ball carrier as well. So that you need players like that in the midfield.
He's got he reminds me of like a Jack Grealish before, like early Aston Villa, of how that was his main trait.
Socks down, yeah.
Socks down, good progressor, everything. Apart from the shitty hair that Grealish has, I like Aaron Smith Rowe's hair better. So yeah.
Yeah, I wonder why that is. Jay, great to see you, sir. Balak's gone said, how is Xhaka now getting the blame? He played all those games and you are blaming the players that are back up. I wouldn't say that's what we're doing. I'm just saying that it's unfamiliar, maybe, and it's taken some time to adjust to Yula Congas and players like that. Yeah, Xhaka should take responsibility because he is the experienced player out of the two. I don't know. Amondi, hang on, I've gone a bit from where we go. Amondi has said, Xhaka has shown great characters to still show passion for the club after being booed. I agree with that. The stupid red cards and mistakes have been exaggerated on social media. Again, I have to agree with that. And he is trying to turn it around. And obviously, have you seen that interview he's done recently? And he wants to win the fans over. And you saw it in his celebration against Man United and the way he played against Chelsea. So I think the thing with Xhaka, I think he's a very passionate player, passionate person, and just sees red. And he just reacts badly to things. I think that's his problem. I had the audacity several months ago to compare him with Vieira in terms of red cards and that. And Vieira's actually got more red cards than him. I'm not saying he's anything like Vieira before anyone starts chopping my head off. But if the team around him was a lot better, if we were winning multiple trophies, I mean, who knows? But Balak's gone further and say passion or getting a silly pay rise, even though he wasn't performing. I don't know. I think it was more of a team thing, like, you know, and like Keith said, Wenger, Emery, and Arteta all see something for him. He's the captain of the Swiss side, plays brilliant for Switzerland. Doesn't he? He's probably their best player. So there's definitely a player in there. I think it's just his hotness and his that he's like Marmite, isn't he? And that's the problem. And our fan base is so split, even still now, even in the position we're in. I think that might have something to do with it. Anything you want to pick up from any of those comments there, guys?
Yeah, if I could just jump in quickly there. What was that? I mean, you hit the nail on there, Tony. He's passionate and he makes stupid mistakes from time to time. But and I know in the comments, like saying I'd be passionate for 100k a week. I'm fairly certain these players, when they're on the pitch and you've got 60,000 people watching you, you're not thinking about the pay packet. You're just thinking about the game. And I would rather have somebody who makes the odd stupid mistake than somebody who looks like they couldn't really be asked about it. It's no one's ever going to agree on Xhaka, and no one's ever going to agree on anything to do with Arsenal because there's always going to be different opinions. And you know, we've got to listen to other opinions. And 98% of my life I spend arguing with people about something or other anyway. So there's always going to be that. But like I say, I'd rather someone with passion who might get the odd stupid yellow than somebody who prepared to put their foot in and put the miles in as well.
That's it. Did you remember as well, before we signed Xhaka, there was a lot of Arsenal fans calling him for a rough old dirty bastard in midfield. And now we got him and no one likes him. Do you know what I mean?
We're never going to be happy, are we? Ever.
do you know what I mean? But look, I get people's frustrations with him. I do. I completely get it. And I get there's people have different opinions on him. And again, I get it. And this is what it's about. James, is there anything else you want to pick up from those comments? Yeah.
I feel like, I don't know, the Balak SRFC. I just feel like we should loosen up a little bit. Everyone has, as Keith mentioned, there's never seems to be. I rarely see Arsenal fans that are not too far on. I don't know, for example, Arteta in, not too far on Arteta out. Just in the middle, enjoying watching Arsenal play football and enjoying the direction we're going in, right? And I feel like we need to have that stance with Granit Xhaka because look, everyone makes mistakes, right? We're only human. Granit Xhaka is what he did, as I said, wasn't called for. But again, neither was the fans whistling him and booing him off. So I feel like there are two parties at fault here. And I think we should just enjoy the fact that we're playing good football, we're performing well, and the fact that, as you've seen in the interview, that he does care for this team. If he didn't care for this team and he didn't want to achieve things, right, he would have long gone. He would have gone in January when Arteta came in. But he wants to do things here and plays well. That's why he signed the contract extension. So I feel like we should just ease off a little bit, see where he is within next season. if he's reverting back to the old Xhaka, consistently getting cards, making errors, then that's fine, and we can make that decision then. But from what I've seen this season and a lot of last season as well, he has been consistently good, and it's nice to see the fact that he's seems to be happy again, because that was something within Xhaka. Xhaka always had his head down, didn't want to really talk to fans, didn't really want to interact. Right? He seems to be enjoying his football, so that's where I'm at. I'm chilling with it. I feel like everyone else should have that stance. And look, we're in a good position regardless of where we finish this summer, and I don't think we should be focusing on too much on specific players, especially like Saliba is another one, right? Let's just enjoy it, have a good summer. It's an exciting time to be an Arsenal fan, and let's just be happy for Xhaka and the fact that he's performing well.
Yeah, I want to kind of touch on what James has said, because I actually am in agreement. Everyone knows where my stance was with Xhaka. Yeah, I wanted to see him gone last season. Again, what James is saying, he must like the club, because why would you sign an extension if you really hated the place? Even if you couldn't get your move to Roma, you just let that contract run down and you get to pick of where you want to go on a free, and you probably pick up more money long term because there's no transfer fee involved for you. So as we see with us with Kolasinac, you then pay way over what you should pay because you don't pay a transfer fee. So if he really didn't like Arsenal, he wouldn't have signed that contract. And equally again with James, then yeah, just enjoy what he is doing. And I think the best decision he made recently, and this is what I say about the Arteta thing, Arteta might have his views, but Xhaka as a player can sometimes overrule it. We saw it with the armband, and Nketiah's come on the pitch waving an armband at Xhaka saying, "Here, it's you." And he's turned around and said, "That's not for me no more." And he's made a decision, which again has worked for him, because I think what happens with Arsenal is he takes the armband, half the fan base is saying fair play to him, half the fan base saying, why is he touching the armband for? He should never have it again. And it creates arguments again. And what he's done, he's just distanced himself from that. And he said, actually, do you know what? Let me just concentrate on 90 minutes on the pitch and my football, rather than everything that comes with having that armband. And that's also helped. And not to, again, we might have won games with him wearing the armband, but again, for me, it's actually just go about and do your job. What we need you to do is just be a good footballer, and Arsenal win games. And that's what he's been doing. Do you know what I mean? So fair play to him. He seems like he's starting to understand it maybe a little bit more than he did in the past. And it's not just about Granit Xhaka. It's actually about Arsenal Football Club. So, yeah, long may it continue.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely. And we're going to go on to the top four now. Keith, I know you've got to run off in a couple of minutes, so I'm going to come to you quickly with your thoughts on the top four. Are we getting top four? When will we clinch it? Just, yes, what do you think?
I think we are, to be honest. I'm in a much better place than I was in the 3 games that we dropped. I was getting a bit worried that we were going back into a November, December last season type thing. But when you look at the games, obviously the Spurs game is the main one. It's difficult. I fancy us against West Ham, looking at their injuries and the games that we're sandwiched between. Leeds will be difficult because they're resurgent. I was watching them the other night. He's turned them around really quickly. Then you got the Spurs one. That could just go either way. But they're coming off the back of Liverpool, and they get 1 day's rest less when they play Liverpool compared with when we play Leeds. We get 1 day's less rest when we play them. But then they've got Burnley second to last game. Now looking at the table, it's looking like Burnley are probably still going to be in a dogfight. And Burnley's not the sort of team in a dogfight that you want to be playing if your manager's talking about buggering off to France for his next job already with 5 games left. Newcastle won't be easy, but they'll probably come at us again. They're mid-table; they've got nothing to fear anymore. So I'm hoping that they're going to come at us, and then we'll have the gaps to exploit and counter-attack them. And last game of the season, I'm fairly certain Everton will already be relegated. And they've got Norwich. But I'd look the other night. I think we'll get 11 points. I'll get 8 from the remaining 5 games. And obviously, we're already 2 points clear of them. But we need to be clear, because I don't really think we'll claw their goal difference back.
Yeah, no, I'd happily take that. Keith, before you do this, because it is 12:30 now, do you want to let the people know where they can find you?
Yes, certainly. Thanks, Tony. Firstly, thanks for having me on, guys. And Gums are in James.
Thank you.
It's the first time I've been on with you guys, so it's nice to make your acquaintance. Finally, I've watched quite a lot of stuff, and I enjoy your content. So cheers, guys. But yeah, I live mostly on Twitter. I've spent a ridiculous amount of time on this. You can find me on there. Let's keep it mostly Arsenal. And I call it a new channel. It's not. I've been doing it about a year and a half now. I've got like 85 subscribers. I don't really push it that much. I swear quite a lot. It's called Mostly Arsenal. I do two things. It's Topical Storm, where I just vent and rant about football and life in general. And then I've recently started this thing called
Hotel Rooms
podcast. Hotel, yeah, it's always on tour. I spend most of my life in hotel rooms. And then we got the Legends podcast that I've just started doing. I do some pre-recorded stuff, quite a lot of research, and it's good because I'm trying to educate like newer fans about older players, but I'm educating myself as well with the research, finding out things that I didn't previously know. So I'm actually really enjoying that. So I do a mixture of pre-recorded stuff and live ones as well, where I get guests on to talk about their particular legends in real life, international sport, and football as well. And you guys will all be getting an invite very, very shortly. But yeah, that's me.
No,
but
thank you.
No. I really enjoyed this.
No, thanks for joining. And we'll have all your links in the description below after we've done completed the stream. I urge people to go subscribe, check his stuff out. It's brilliant. I was watching his latest one last night. He had me in stitches, as he always does. But yeah, thanks again, Keith. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on, and we hope to see you again very, very soon.
Thank you. I'll chip off now. Thanks, fellas. Be good.
See you later.
Thank you, Keith. Cheers, mate. So yeah, just going on the top four, because I know none of us have been at any of the previous streams where the guys have spoken about it. So if I just flash, obviously Keith's gone through the running without looking at it, and he's done well actually. But let's have another look at it. James, talk to me.
Still favourites. Said that we should be getting top four. I'll hold that, and if we don't, I'll firm the L fully because I believe we are a much better team. So yeah, I mean, I'm not really worried. We should be getting. Well, Keith said 11. I realistically think 12, maybe 15. Going to be hard, but I feel like the way we're at, and again, I know it swings and roundabouts. Like three games ago, we looked in the mud. Now we're looking good, right? We can exactly happen again with Spurs, but I mean, they haven't had a shot on target in 2 games, right? So that's pretty damning. And Leicester aren't a joke. I know they're having a poor season, but they're still a good team. Liverpool, I fully expect them to win because they're in a title race and they're in a chance of winning 4 competitions. I hope it doesn't happen, but we'll have to see. They're going to go for it. And as you said, Burnley as well, going to be very, very difficult. So we'll have to see it if it plays out, and I hope it plays out that we can secure top 4 by doing it at Shy Hart Lane or whatever their new toilet bowl stadium is called now. Then that would be great. But we'll have to see. I'm very confident. I wasn't confident until they integrated and El Neni again, but now that we have, especially Tomiyasu coming back, I think we're going to be in a very good position. Fingers crossed, touch wood, that we don't get any more knocks. So that's my position.
So that obviously the feelings pretty confident. Are you as confident, Gumza? Do we pick it back up for you?
I don't know. I look at it, and yes, we should be securing it from there. Like you said, Leicester's not going to be an easy game. Liverpool obviously expected Liverpool to win that. Then it comes to the Arsenal-Tottenham game. It's just Arsenal, though, isn't it? Like, on that, I'm saying we should go and secure top 4 because, again, our running looked harder, but it was the Chelsea-Man United fixtures. We got through that part. I don't know. Like, we should, in the position we're in, we're definitely favourites. I'll be disappointed if we didn't, but also it's not a foregone conclusion. And actually, if we do end up getting 5th, yes, it'll be frustrating because the position we're in now, we should, do you know what I mean? We've literally done all the hard work. But yeah, I feel I don't want to come away from actually it's still a very, very good season, even if we come 5th. And the reason why Arsenal and Tottenham are in this position is because them games there, which we should be winning, we might drop points in. I look back at the Tottenham run since international break. I think they scored 9 goals in 2 games after coming back. And again, I remember saying it was weird because the Villa game, they should have been 3 or 4-1 down at half time. Yeah. Villa didn't score, and then Tottenham went crazy in the second half. And we went on the back of 3 defeats, and all of a sudden, just like that, we've just switched completely. Now we're scoring goals. They can't seem to even hit the target. So it's not a foregone. And again, styles make fights. And yeah, some of them teams there, they might look and say, actually, Arsenal struggled against the Palace, Southampton, and the Brighton games. So actually, let's adopt that style when we play against them rather than the Chelsea United game. So it might then become more difficult for us. The the game in there that really think would cause maybe the big upset is the Newcastle one for me. I think we get West Ham at a good time. Do you know what I mean? Just after the European game, with and then another European game a few days later. So I think we catch them at the right time. It's a perfect weekend to get them. I think it's the Newcastle one where they're looking pretty tasty at the moment, and St. Maximin's.
The thing about that Newcastle one is what I will say is obviously you got players there that are trying to stake a claim to stay in the team next season. So, and that's for me. That's why they're still getting the results, because they could just down tools now. They've done what they need to do.
Yeah, I think that one becomes a shootout because that's the kind of game where I don't think they're going to change their style and go defensively against us. I think Eddie Howe's always played good football at any team he manages. He's never won that we'll be hiking the bus. So that will be the game where, but that's the kind of game where you could easily win it 4-1 because they're going to be quite open and expansive, or they could beat you 3-2. Like I can imagine there's going to be quite a few goals in that game. But yeah, we just got to keep just pushing. I know Nigel says it one game at a time, but this is get past West Ham. If Leicester do us another favour, then they got Liverpool. I'm expecting Liverpool to win that. Do you know what I mean? So if we could just do what we got to do in the next two, we can literally just take. Again, destiny is in our hands, but one draw and they win, then all of a sudden it's back. It's goal difference again. Do you know what I mean? So we just really got to just keep focusing. But the difference I think with Arsenal and Tottenham at the moment is that team spirit. Like, we look more of a team than Tottenham. And like we've been saying all season, the problem with Tottenham have got is if Kane and Son aren't producing, they've got nothing else really. Do you know what I mean? Like, whereas at least we've got, so at least we seems like we've got a little bit more than them in terms of the fighting spirit, togetherness. So I'm hoping that should be enough to see us through. But I think both teams will be dropping points along the way. And I think that's why we're fourth. We're fighting for fourth. Do you know what I mean? Because we're not as consistent as the others yet. And there is games in there which we should be winning on paper, but we will struggle in. So, but I'm praying Arsenal do it, man. It's there. It's touching distance. I can feel it.
The thing that I look at our two next fixture, Spurs and our next fixtures. Now, obviously, Spurs play Leicester on Sunday at 2:00, and then we play West Ham at 4:30 on Sunday. Usually, if we play first, we'd get the better result.
Yeah.
But like you said, West Ham have got Frankfurt in the semi-finals of the Europa League, so they're going to be putting all their eggs in that basket. Plus Dawson's suspended for the game because he got sent off. He's probably one of their better defenders. So I like to think that we should get 3 points against West Ham. Leicester, I know they're in the Conference League, but I still remember that game they played at the King Power in January. I remember that game because I landed in New York, got to my hotel, and Leicester had just gone 1-up. So we've gone to the Pele soccer shop, and they're the big screens outside. I said, yeah, it's still 1-0. Went in the shop. By the time I come back out, it was 2-1 Spurs. I was livid. So that should be played. And I saw the goals back, and they were terrible. The goals they gave away, Leicester. So they'd want to put that right, surely. So if we say they got a point there, okay, and I mentioned this in the WhatsApp group, it would be great if this happened. Then they lose to Liverpool. We get 3 points against Leeds. We are then what? We'll be, hang on, there's 5 points in them. We'll be 8 points ahead of them, won't we? Was it 7?
Crazy. It'd
be like 7-8 points ahead of them, and then we go to their ground. We go 2-0 up. They pull one back. They score a late equaliser. They're all going crazy. The fans are going wild. The players are in Arsenal players' faces. Xhaka turns around to one of them and goes, "Hey, listen, you do know we only need a point at your place." Different scenario, but could you imagine
the fans to the Arsenal end when they celebrate top 4? We love it. That would make my whole season. We can secure top 4 there.
That would be brilliant. But look, I think there's going to be a lot of twists and turns, and I think I do kind of worry about the Leeds game because they are playing a lot better now.
I think the thing with Leeds again, it's one of them games where you can score against Leeds. Like, they are playing better, but yeah, I think that's the kind of games we enjoy. We seem to play better against teams who open up a little bit because it gives us space to open them up. Again, teams low block, we play out short from the back. It's very hard to break down. When teams are coming at you, if you can find the right passes through, all of a sudden you're at the back line with space in behind. So, yeah, I think there's not an easy game in the Prem, and this is the problem. Tottenham could easily go and lose a couple of games, but beat Liverpool. Like, it's Premier League, isn't it? And this is why we love the league the way we do, because it's so competitive throughout. So I don't want to sit there and count points. And after what we just went through against Brighton, Palace, and Southampton,
that's the frustrating thing, right? That is the most frustrating thing. We at least get 4 points from those 3 games we lost. Pretty much home and hosed. It's so frustrating.
But what Arsenal have done well, I don't think there's been many times where we've just lost one game in isolation and then won 3 or 4, then lost one. We've tend to have lost a couple or had like a bad little run, and then we go on a big run of being winning, and then we go on another little bad run. So again, you look at the first 3 games, we lost all 3. Then we went how many games winning? Then we have a little drop of points. Then January to Feb, we didn't score in 4 or 5 games. Again, luckily a lot of it was in the cup, but we had a bad run. Then we hit that amazing run where we was the second best performing team in the top 5 leagues in Europe, over 10 games. And then we had international break. Then we come back 3 defeats. So now hopefully we now go on a little run again, 6, 7 games in a row of winning. And then do you know what I mean? 3 bad games, 3 bad, 10. So hopefully it's now that good run we're going to hit. So please, Arsenal, please.
Yeah, no. Canis is an absolute legend, Keith. Yes, he is. He truly is. Balak is having none of this. We lost 3 games in a row not long ago, and now you're saying the Spurs haven't had a shot in 2 games. Be consistent with the comments. I think we should get top 4, and if we don't, we failed. Now, I get some fans. We're in this. We've got an opportunity now to get 4th. And I can get why some fans would be upset if we fail. But look, I know the objective was top 6. But I think most of us would say, on this panel in particular, would say we would be absolutely gutted if we missed it. And especially at Spurs' expense, we'd be absolutely gutted. But you got to look at it overall. And we should, nor should Spurs really. None of us should be in this conversation. It should be Man United. And they've just been crap. Let's have it right. So I will get the frustrations if if we don't get top 4 and people are calling for managers or whatever. I do get it. But I think it's a bit too hasty, maybe.
Do you know what? It reminds me. Sorry, James. I look at that comment and I understand exactly what he's saying, because the position we're in now, we should secure that top 4. But it's a bit like the Man City game where before the game starts, you say, if we get beat 2-1 by City, it's a good result for us. Like, it's not bad, the performance, whatever else. You go into the game and you're winning and you're thinking, Jesus, we have chances. You then get beat 2-1 by City in a game you shouldn't lose. And the frustration kicks in because you're thinking, we should have got at least a point out of that, maybe 3. But then in hindsight, you look back at it, you think, actually, from where we were, they beat us 5-0 earlier in the season. Actually, it's not a bad performance. So I do understand that if we come out on the last game of the season, we lose top 4 by goal difference or a point, everyone will be gutted, frustrated. But actually, in terms of what Arsenal wanted to achieve, we came 8th 2 years in a row. We haven't been in the top 4 for 7, 8 years or 7 years, maybe 6 years, something crazy like that.
6.
It's not as bad. I thought we bridged the gap with transitioning.
Feels like forever though.
Yeah, and again, you got to look at it in terms of where we are in our transition. Like, Tottenham are going to go through ups and downs again. They haven't settled on a manager. Talks is Conte's going to leave. Poch might be coming back. I don't care what anyone says. It's been quiet this year about Harry Kane leaving Spurs, but I think he's gone, regardless of what they do. He wants to be there to win trophies.
I think he'll go to Newcastle,
No, I don't reckon Newcastle, but I could see him leaving because, yes, even if they get top 4, that's not what he wants now. He's been in Champions League how many years? He wants trophies. So, and if Conte leaves, do you know what I mean? I think he could be out the door. So they've got now issues going on there. United are going through a massive transition. So even if we don't get it this year, I still think we're in a very good position for the year after to now push on because, again, I know you guys have spoke about transfers. If we do get the striker, so just say now we do get rid of, even you kept the 10 players the same, you bring in take Lacazette out and bring in a striker who's going to give me 15 to 20 goals on top of what we've already got. that now is a team that's pushing Chelsea for third. And that's how we've got to look at it. It's that small little adjustment. One player can make such a big difference. We saw it with Liverpool. It was Van Dijk. They were knocking in and around, but wasn't getting over the line. Van Dijk comes in. They've now won Champions League, Premier League. They're pushing for 4 trophies. That striker for Arsenal getting 15 to 20 goals a year, like, that's massive for us because Lacazette's got, 3 or 4 in the league. Aubameyang had 6 in the league. Like, that's 10 goals. We can double that with another striker. I think we then push Chelsea for third. So that's my thoughts.
Yeah.
Even if we get top 4 this year, not the end of the world.
And he's right with his comment. Football changes week to week when you're inconsistent like Spurs and Arsenal. He's 100% spot on. And we've touched on that. You know, it's I couldn't agree with you more. Canners has gone far to say that Spurs won't lose to Liverpool. I mean, I wouldn't even be surprised, to be honest.
Nah.
Styles. Spurs love to counter-attack and Liverpool will be expansive. So that's where Spurs are at their best.
I just think it feels at home maybe, but at Anfield, I just can't see it. I really can't. I may get clipped for it, but I just can't see it at all. And Balak, thanks for tuning in. I think it's the first time we've seen you in the comments, so make sure you have subscribed and dropped us a like.
Yeah.
It's been great to have you on and have your comments. And so there you feel that's what it's all about. It's all about opinions, and this is why we're here. We just want to talk about.
Nice to have a viewer that has opposing views, but actually has a conversation that we can discuss it with. So yeah, big up Balak. Come back anytime, bro. Pleasure.
No, respect for that. Any closing thoughts, gents? We're not going to look to wrap this up.
We should spend 100 million on Declan Rice. No, I'm kidding. Closing. No.
Can we talk about that? Can we talk about that, please? Because I want to let the people know that James has been bigging this up in the chat for the last couple of days now, and a lot of us gone. There's no way, and we're not spending 100 million on Declan Rice.
No, we know we're not, but that's what I would. Yeah.
Okay.
He's just levels, bro. He is, but
he's good. He's good,
bro. He's more than good. Come on, he's gonna.
I'm not saying he's bad.
He's gonna be.
I'm not saying
world beater, but no, I don't want to go. I was only joking with the comment. I don't want to go too off the subject, considering we've been live 52 minutes and we could be going on for this for another hour and a half, and I have to get back to work. But no, it was a good
just
conversation
quickly,
about.
You did bring up another one earlier.
You
did bring up another one earlier. Dybala.
Free. I mean,
but his wages is quite high. 260 euros.
Wages schmages, bro. We have one of the best wages in the Prem right now. They're there to be spent. You wouldn't have freed up those wages if you weren't going to allocate.
You're going to make him the highest paid player.
Would he want to be the highest paid player?
I mean, look, I think I've been experienced when it comes to Europe. Yeah, I'll get it. But comes up to
me, this is where again the plan. If the plan's in place correctly, it's not far-fetched, because if you said, right, if I go and buy a midfielder and a striker at 50 million a piece, it's 100 million. If you could pull Dybala for free and spend 100 on Declan, you spent the same money and you've got 2 quality players. So, again, I think there will be things. And why I like Dybala, because I still would get another striker. I don't think Dybala is the 20-goal a season man we want. But what Dybala gives you, he probably gives you that element. He can go and play out on the wing. He can easily go and play for instead of Odegaard in that position. So it just gives a bit of rotation option in terms of all over the park. With, again, like that pedigree you lot are saying, he's kind of been there, seen it, done it. Declan Rice would be a dream for me. And reason why I won't say this does not discount it, because no one thought we would be going for Ben White. Like, that was one position we thought we don't need a centre-back. Like, we got blah, blah, blah. 50 million for centre-back. We're not going to spend that. And he's gone and done it. And he's never going to come to Arsenal. Like, he's got the pick of all the teams in the Prem, blah, 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 and we end up going to get him. So I think the thing what we got to be careful of is we have a lot of conversations about stuff and we don't know what them guys are thinking, because equally, goalkeeper was not the position anyone was going to change. When we had so many shows prior to this window, no one mentioned getting a first choice keeper in. All it was is get Onana. When he's finished his ban, he can then come in. Like, that was the only conversation we really had. No one was looking at a keeper, and we've seen how important that's been for us. So they might identify something else which would prove the attacking option, but it might not be an attacker. It might be a central midfielder. Is what the difference is to this team. So yeah, I'm actually going into this window very relaxed, very chilled. Normally I'm like, I want this player, I want that player.
Yeah.
Give me him. I'm not even doing it no more because the players I
was about to ask you as well. You answered the question already. I was about to ask you, do you trust Edu and Arteta and what they're going to do?
100%. I trust them. I said I've been banging that drum for the past 2 years because I said a lot of the problems wasn't Arteta and Edu. He was undoing a lot of work by Gazidis and Raul Sanelli and those guys. A lot of that work's been undone. So my problem actually isn't with them two at all. I think they've done pretty well in the market. Yes, Tavares has had an indifferent season. You can all see there's a player in there. Some of the outgoings, again, I wasn't happy with Guendouzi, but in terms of what the non-negotiables are, I agree with Arteta. As much as I love Guendouzi, actually, if you can't come and apologise, then you can't play for me. And I'm 100% backing him on that. Again, Aubameyang is a fan favourite. Love the guy. Love that he's doing well in Barcelona. And I do think there is a good player in there. But it just wasn't working for Arsenal at the time. So actually, was it harsh to get rid of him the way we did? Probably. But at the same time, when you look at the long-term benefits, it might really play into our hands. And again, this documentary is going to be amazing because, again, the thought process behind it. Could we have done with Abba to the end of the year? 100%. He would have done, do you know what I mean? He probably would have scored a few goals for us. But they might be looking at it's 8 million worth of savings.
The way things were, he couldn't stay.
Yeah. So again, we never know what's really going on behind closed doors. But again, what Edu and Arteta have done for me in terms of where they've got this team at the moment, like Rabs Arteta happens to Arteta, I think we need to put more credit on Edu's name. We really give him a hard time. And apart from Willian, I can't tell you something he's done really bad in terms of incomings. I can't, and what he's done with outgoings is he's back to Arteta. If Arteta said, I don't want this guy in the squad, Edu said, right, we get rid of him. And that's what you need. Otherwise, you end up like United, where they've got such an imbalance. Yeah. We've seen it at Chelsea. How many times have Chelsea players down tools because they know the manager gets the chop before I do? So I think Edu deserves a lot of credit and he doesn't get the recognition he deserves. He's done a very good job at this club. Like, very good.
People just get triggered because they see pictures of me, him with a glass of wine.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I understand the frustration, especially January, because I look at what Bruno Guimaraes is doing. But and that does.
No, I know
that does.
It's frustrating. It makes you wonder what actually happened with that. Did we actually go in for him? And also going on the January, and I've said this before, I'm glad that we didn't rush into buying anybody because that's not what they want to do. They want to buy the right players for the right price.
I'm for that. And
I actually believe we were heavily in for Vlahovic, but obviously he wanted to stay in Italy and play with Juventus. So. It is what it is. And do you know what? Listen, we're doing all right.
Yeah, and if you can't get the right targets, that's what I was saying in the end of the January transfer, rather than throwing 15 million on someone, which then impacts what we can get in the summer, just deal with what you got. And to be fair, it may backfire, but it might not, because actually we wasn't even talking of top four in January, really. And honestly, like, that was still a dream. We've almost got it. So if they managed to pull that off without spending the money, and say, do you know what, you guys, we've now saved 30 million, which we could have spent on a Ceballos loan or the guy from Juventus loan. That would have been 10, 15 million gone. We could have we was linked to that striker from Deportivo. Was he 10 million or something like that? Like, we could have spent 30 million on rubbish, which now we have to try and get back out of the club. And we still could be in the same position or in a worse position. So, yeah, long term, again, everything's hindsight, isn't it? If we don't get top four, we'll look back and say Guimaraes could have been the difference. And I think he could have. And the frustration with him was he actually got sold for the same kind of money we was going to pay for him. So I think that's the frustration with him. Everyone else, again, Vlahovic was the target we wanted. And if we had got him, he makes a big difference. But we didn't go in and spank the money on Isaacs. I think what I've seen of him since Christmas, maybe he's down tools because he wanted to move and he wasn't allowed to leave. Maybe he's then frustrated. But he, again, I think everyone saying now spend 70 million on him would have been a big mistake from what he's done at the moment. So, yeah, and we've seen teams buy big players and it doesn't work all the time. Do you know what I mean? So a little bit of patience will go a long way. But
I think they're already working. I think they're already working on potential deals for some.
They were talking to Tillemans in January, weren't they? They were talking to Tillemans. So that might be why we didn't get a centre midfielder. Maybe
the whole Jesus thing as well,
That don't look like a bad shout at the moment. He's flying at the moment, isn't he?
Guess who recommended that like 7 months ago? You know,
You.
yeah, it couldn't have been me, right?
Yeah, we'll give you that.
I
We'll give you that.
like James. I like James in the transfer market. He's very diligent.
My talent ID's elite, bro. But just maybe my other footballing opinions, such as my opinion on Harry Maguire, isn't so great. But you know, we'll leave that for another show.
You gotta get something right sometime, right?
Once every 1,000 predictions, yeah.
But no, it's a decent shout, and obviously he's Premier League proven. He's not going to be your main striker, but listen, we're gonna end it there. It's been a great discussion. We've talked about Xhaka, the top 4 thing, and maybe potential. We're going to be talking about it now. We just hope that we get to the Champions League. We'll have a great summer. We're getting the players that we needed, Haaland, all them, and it'll be all good. But yeah, until the next time, gents. Thanks for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks to Keith, of course, who had to drop out earlier because he had a meeting at work. So, but yeah, what's we got next? We've got the preview coming up. I don't know when yet because we're playing
Preview
Sunday, so
reaction.
probably like a Friday, Saturday, probably. And then yeah, we'll have the reaction to that, and hopefully it's another 3 points in the bag. But in the meantime, I'm MrSilvaFox. James has been James. Gums has been Gumser. We're the Armoury TV, and we are out of here.